Okay, so have you ever like met someone and there's definitely something there, but they just always seem a little bit out of reach?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're playing hard to get.
Right.
And it leaves you wondering, are they actually into me or are they just messing with me?
Yeah, you're left questioning everything.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into this whole playing hard to get thing.
Yeah, we're trying to understand the psychology behind it.
Because it's a classic dating move, right?
It is, and we've got some really interesting source material for this one.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
So we're hearing from a woman who's talking about her own experiences with this.
Okay, so she's been on both sides of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Both giving it and receiving it.
Interesting. So what kind of insights does she have?
Well, one of the first things she points out is that it's not really about playing games.
Oh, okay, so it's deeper than that.
Right. It's more about this idea of value.
Value. Okay, I'm listening.
Like, she actually talks about how she wants to see if a guy is genuinely interested in her as a person.
Not just looking for an easy win.
Exactly.
Yeah, because who wants to feel like they were low effort?
Yeah, you want to feel like they had to work for it at least a little.
Right. Nobody wants to feel like they were a walk in the park.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that old saying, we want what we can't have.
Totally. And the harder it is to get something, the more we want it.
Right. And psychologists actually have a name for that.
Oh, really? What is it?
It's called reactance theory.
Okay, that sounds intense.
Basically, it means that when we feel like our freedom of choice is being limited, it makes us want that thing even more.
So when someone's playing hard to get, it kind of backfires because it makes them even more attractive.
Exactly. It creates this sense of scarcity.
Okay, that makes sense. And I feel like we've all been there, right? Where you're trying to play it cool,
Oh, yeah.
like you don't want to bombard them with messages.
Right. You want to seem busy,
Exactly. But then you worry that maybe you went too far.
and you've accidentally sent the wrong message.
Yes. And they're thinking you're just not interested,
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance.
which is super tricky.
It is. And it's something our source talks about, too.
Oh, really?
She emphasizes the importance of patience and persistence, but without going overboard.
So, like, don't be blowing up their phone every 5 seconds.
Right, exactly. She actually shares a story about a guy who would not stop texting her.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it's totally backfired.
You know, I think we've all been on the receiving end of that at some point.
Oh, for sure.
Like, calm down. We get it. You know how to use emojis.
Right. But it's more than just being annoying.
Oh, okay. So there's a deeper reason why that's a turnoff.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. When someone won't stop texting, even though you're not really responding, what does that tell you?
That they're maybe a little too invested.
Exactly. It can signal a need for validation.
Like they need that constant reassurance.
Right. And it can make it seem like they're more interested in getting a response than actually getting to know you.
And nobody wants to feel like they're just there to stroke someone's ego.
Right. It's important to remember that building a genuine connection takes time,
It's a process.
and it requires patience.
You can't force these things.
Exactly. It's like trying to force a flower to bloom before it's ready.
You've got to let things unfold organically.
Right. And that leads us to another important point that our source makes.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's about maintaining your own sense of value and identity in the process.
So don't lose yourself in trying to get someone else's attention.
Exactly. Don't change who you are just to try to make someone like you.
Because that never works out well.
It doesn't. And it can actually backfire.
How so?
Well, when we become too focused on trying to get someone to like us, we can fall into this trap of becoming predictable.
Oh, that's interesting.
We try to become who we think they want us to be.
Instead of just being ourselves.
Exactly. And paradoxically, that can actually decrease attraction.
Oh, wow. I would thought the opposite.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it this way. Humans are drawn to novelty.
Like the excitement of the unknown.
Exactly. We like to be surprised.
Okay, that makes sense.
So when someone becomes too predictable, it can actually dampen the spark.
Because there's no mystery anymore.
Right. And our source actually tells this great story about this guy she was seeing.
Okay, what happened?
Well, she was really into him at first,
Yeah.
but then he started doing all these things that just made him seem less interesting.
Like what?
Like he would constantly agree with everything she said,
No, no.
and he was always available.
There was no chase.
And eventually she was just like, meh.
Oh, no. I've still been there.
It's almost like he became too familiar too quickly.
And that air of mystery just vanished.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like you figure them out too soon, and then it's just not as exciting anymore.
Exactly. And you know what else she talks about in the source material?
What's that?
Boundaries.
Oh, boundaries.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, that's important in any relationship.
Right. but especially romantic ones.
Totally.
Yeah.
So what does she say about boundaries?
Well, she actually tells this really interesting story about a guy she was seeing.
Okay, I'm listening.
And she was doing the whole playing hard to get thing.
Yeah.
But then he did something really unexpected.
What did he do?
He called her out on it.
Oh, wow. He called her bluff.
Yeah, basically he was like, look, I'm not okay with being treated this way.
That's ballsy.
Right. And at first she was taken aback.
Yeah, I bet.
But then she realized that she actually respected him more for it.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So by setting boundaries, he actually became more attractive to her.
Exactly. It's like he was willing to walk away if she wasn't going to treat him with respect.
And that made him even more desirable.
Exactly. It goes back to that idea of scarcity that we were talking about earlier.
Right. When something is rare, it becomes more valuable.
Exactly. And by setting boundaries, he was basically saying, I have a certain standard, and I'm not going to lower it for anyone.
And that's a powerful message to send.
It is. And it's something that we can all learn from.
Yeah, because boundaries aren't just about protecting yourself from being mistreated.
Right? They're also about communicating your worth to other people.
Exactly. And when you set boundaries, you're basically saying, this is how I expect to be treated.
And if someone isn't willing to respect that, then they're not worth your time.
Exactly. It's about having self-respect.
And that confidence can be incredibly attractive.
Because it shows that you value yourself.
And when you value yourself, it makes it easier for other people to value you too.
That's so true. It's like you're sending a message to the world that you deserve to be treated with respect.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message to embody, whether you're navigating the dating world or just life in general.
It's like standing your ground.
Right?
You're showing them that you're not willing to settle for less than you deserve.
Exactly. And you know what's interesting about all this?
What's that?
Our source kind of reframes this whole playing hard to get thing.
Oh, really?
How so? She makes it less about manipulation and more about trying to figure out if someone is truly interested in her.
Okay, so it's like a test to see if their intentions are genuine.
Exactly. It's about gauging their authenticity.
Because I guess when you think about it, there's a big difference between someone who's really into you and someone who's just caught up in the chase.
Right. And she's trying to weed out the ones who are just looking for a quick ego boost.
The ones who are going to disappear as soon as they face a little bit of resistance.
Exactly. She wants someone who's willing to put in the effort.
To prove that they're really interested.
Exactly. Someone who sees her value and appreciates her for who she is.
I mean, that makes total sense, especially in today's dating world.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in superficial connections.
Right. With online dating and everything, it's like you're constantly bombarded with options.
And it can be hard to know who's actually being genuine.
Exactly. So I get why she approaches it this way.
It's her way of filtering out the noise and finding someone who's truly on the same page.
It's like she's saying, if you're really interested, you'll stick around and show me.
Exactly. You'll be willing to put in the work.
And that speaks volumes.
It does. And it all comes back to those core principles we've been talking about.
Value, respect, self-awareness.
Exactly. Those are the foundations of any healthy relationship.
Whether it's romantic or platonic.
Absolutely. And you know what I think the biggest takeaway here is?
What's that?
It's not really about playing games. It's about approaching dating and relationships with intention.
With a clear sense of what you're looking for.
And what you deserve.
It's about being true to yourself and not settling for less than your worth.
And that's a message that I think we can all get behind.
Absolutely. Well said. I think that's a great place to wrap things up.
Yeah, this has been a really insightful conversation.
It has. And it's given us all a lot to think about.
For sure.
So to our listeners out there, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of dating and relationships.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.